As long as I've been with Jazz, Jazz has not been the only person that I've had sex with.
What does a submissive woman do for her man?
Everything.
What does that mean?
You know, like packing his bag, unpacking his bag.
Damn! Stop treating people like the hell.
Jasmin Brown and Cam Newton's saga just hit new levels of drama. From her viral comments about being a submissive woman who does everything for her man to baby daddy chaos and Instagram meltdowns, things are spiraling fast, especially with Cam reportedly ready to show off a new woman while Jasmin's pregnant.
I mean, he's spoiled. And you know, when I talk to my girlfriends about it, they're always like, oh, how you guys doing? And I'm just like, girl, he's rotten. I'm like, he's spoiled rotten. Like, he's rotten.
And y'all, this whole Jasmin Brown and Cam Newton saga has spiraled into a full-blown circus, playing out like a morality show in real time across podcasts, Instagram, and endless online chatter. What's wild is how it's exposing the sharp contrast between the polished image they push and the messy reality underneath. Honestly, it feels like we're watching Jasmin publicly surrender to a man whose history already screams red flags, believing she's different from the others. But here's the kicker. This isn't just gossip. Even a psychologist once warned Cam on his own show that he's destined to create broken families if he doesn't change, and now that prophecy feels closer than ever.
You will, and I say this with all respect and love, what I'm about to say next, okay, Cam? But you will selfishly create broken families.
In case you missed the beginning of this entire situation, let's take a quick step back. Everything really took off when Jasmin Brown made a strikingly honest Instagram post that immediately got people talking. In it, she opened up about her fears around raising a son with Cam Newton, saying, "If God gave me a son, I'd be so nervous because I feel like I subconsciously raised him to be a man I could only dream of but never experienced. And that's traumatic." The post didn't come off as just a passing reflection. It felt deeply personal, like a window into a relationship that isn't quite as solid as it may appear on the surface. This was especially surprising given that Jasmin is currently expecting her second child with Cam, his 9th overall. For someone who has often stood by Cam and defended him publicly, her words read more like a confession than commentary. It highlighted a painful paradox. She's building a life with someone she wouldn't want her future son to emulate. And that admission resonated with a lot of people, especially those familiar with Cam Newton's very public history. Cam has always been open about his unconventional views on relationships, commitment, and family. He once admitted that even while he was with Jasmin, she wasn't the only person he had been involved with intimately. Prior to this, he was in a long-term relationship with Kia Proctor, with whom he shares 4 children. Despite building a family together, they never married, and their relationship ended after years of ups and downs. Kia eventually decided to walk away, a decision many saw as overdue. Cam's past relationships have often been under the spotlight, sometimes by his own doing, as he's shared personal matters publicly in ways that haven't always reflected well on him. Jasmin's post didn't just spark conversation. It exposed the quiet pain of someone trying to reconcile love, family, and disappointment. And in doing so, it added another chapter to an already complicated.
As long as I've been with Jazz, Jazz has not been the only person that I've had sex with.
On his Funky Friday podcast, Cam Newton openly stated that marriage has never been his ultimate goal. He didn't shy away from the topic. In fact, he was clear that while he values family and relationships, the traditional idea of settling down with a ring just isn't something he's ever prioritized. This candid take added more context to his previous relationships and helped explain some of the choices he's made over the years, especially when it comes to commitment.
Jazz allows me to speak to her, and we are able to have banter. And I hate that I embarrassed her, because no woman ever wants to admit that openly. But that their person has not always been with them.
In simple terms, Cam Newton seems comfortable having children with multiple women, but draws the line at marriage. His approach boils down to building families without legal ties. That philosophy started raising eyebrows after his split with Kia Proctor. Rather than quietly co-parenting, Cam took the situation to court, suing for paternity, custody, and even demanding back the Bentley he had once gifted her. While that move seemed petty on the surface, those close to the situation saw it as a strategic power play, a way to pressure Kia into accepting his version of family life, no matter how unconventional it seemed. The Bentley wasn't the real issue. It symbolized a deeper control dynamic. When you pair that with Cam's own public statements about being a committed father and family man, it painted a conflicting picture. He talks a lot about fatherhood and responsibility, but his actions sometimes tell a different story. And people took notice. Because nothing screams contradiction more than promoting yourself as a super dad, while dragging the mother of your 4 children through legal battles over a car you voluntarily gave her.
I'm not married, right? I have beautiful children.
How many?
8.
I didn't do my research. I thought it was 4, but 8. Okay.
No, baby.
Cool.
It's
By how
8.
many women?
3.
Then in a sit down with Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, he admitted,
And this is the kicker. I want more. Now,
By multiple women? What's the intent?
I
I'm
just
saying,
want
how
God
about
to
your
bring
wife?
her. I just want God to bring her.
Oh, okay. And you have, so you just.
Because my point is this. My desire to get married is lower than my fear of divorce. So, as you had said, Dr. Bryant, you said it, I didn't say it, I will agree. I'm just taking my time.
The thing about Cam Newton is that despite his non-traditional personal life, he holds very traditional, some say outdated, views on women. It's been a major part of his public persona, and he's faced criticism for it. On his own Funky Friday podcast, he made it clear that, to him, a so-called boss woman isn't defined by her career success or financial independence, but by more old-school, domestic qualities that align with his personal ideals.
I grew up in a 3-parent household, my mom, my father, and my grandmother. And I knew what a woman was, not a bad bitch.
Okay, what's the difference?
A woman.
Yeah, in Cam's eyes, a woman who can't cook, stay quiet, and let a man lead simply doesn't fit his definition of what a woman should be. Naturally, the internet lit him up over those views. But if you know Cam, you know he's never walked back anything he said. He likely wasn't fazed, especially since much of the backlash came from the very women he believes should be more submissive anyway.
A woman for me is handling your own, but knowing how to cater to a man's need.
But here's the part that really makes people pause, the irony. This is coming from a man who, as a licensed psychologist once pointed out on his own show, is clearly selective about where and when he wants to be present. In other words, Cam gets to choose when to show up, often leaving behind a pattern of emotional mess and instability. And yet, he's the one handing out advice on how women should build and maintain a family. The contradiction couldn't be more obvious. It practically speaks for itself.
And I think a lot of times when you get that aesthetic of like, I'm a boss bitch, like I'm a this, I'm a that, no, baby, like, but you can't cook.
Okay.
You don't know when to be quiet. You don't know how to allow a man to.
You can't make this stuff up. Yet, Jasmin Brown willingly jumped into the chaos. Known for years as a comedian and influencer, Jazz built her brand on fiery rants and sharp sketches roasting pick-me women, those who overpleased undeserving men. She proudly crowned herself the anti-pick-me queen, standing strong for self-respect and zero tolerance for nonsense.
You're being very action-based. You're not taking your time. You're being very action-based.
I'm taking my time.
You're being very action-based. You have 8 kids with 3 different women.
Yes.
You are creating, procreating, and multiplying. That is not taking your time. You're being very selectively active, okay?
Her message was loud, sharp, and unapologetic. Never be the woman carrying all the weight, slaving in the kitchen, cleaning up messes, paying bills, and playing therapist while he gives you scraps. She became the voice for countless women tired of doing it all while their partners did the bare minimum.
Hey besties. I know I'm gonna offend some people, but trust me, this is coming out of love. This message is for all the pick-me's. Pick-me's are women who try to do everything right just so a man can choose me.
That's why Jasmin's current situation feels so strange. It's not just a contradiction, it's a total role reversal. People started whispering that she'd become the very type of woman she once mocked in her comedy. The irony is hard to miss because it seems like Jasmin is now living the same mistake she warned her followers about. The moment she fell hard for Cam Newton, everything changed, and her whole philosophy seemed to vanish. In interview after interview, she flipped the script completely, praising her new role as what she openly called a servant to Cam. She boasted about anticipating his every need, packing and unpacking his bags like a full-time assistant, and even scratching his back until he fell asleep. At one point, she proudly said she'd actually found joy in serving him.
But y'all, she became the mouthpiece for a whole crowd of women fed up with carrying all the weight in relationships, while their men did the bare minimum.
Don't get played. If you are making a man's life easier, i.e. cooking, cleaning, providing whenever he wants, and he's giving you the minimum, he's never going to do more.
Honestly, the way Cam Newton seems to change women so drastically is shocking and almost needs to be studied. For longtime fans, Jasmin Brown's shift felt like stepping into a parallel universe, a complete 180 from, "I'm a boss who demands respect," to "my happiness comes from serving him." This felt like a personal and professional betrayal, especially since she once openly ridiculed that very role. The internet didn't hold back, with harsh reactions and biting comments. One user bluntly said, "Can her making single moms just like Nick Cannon," a line that summed up what many were thinking but hadn't voiced. While a few sympathized, most saw Jasmin walking into a clearly visible fire and ignoring red flags. Her emotional Instagram post wasn't just an update. It felt like a raw cry for help and a public admission she'd become what she once mocked.
But my love is my superpower, and I used to hate that about myself, but now it's like I'm just embracing it. Like, that's who I am. Like, if I love you, I can heal you. But
It's your joy.
It is my joy. You know, I love to see him eating the meal that I cooked. I love seeing him sleep easy. Like, every night, like clockwork, I scratch this man's back to sleep. And I know when he's asleep because I can tell when his breathing changes. And some people might think that's psychotic, but that's like, I just know that's when I'm like, oh, I can stop now. But I find joy in being your rest. And it shouldn't be conditional.
What's really interesting is that while many think Jasmin will eventually see the light and leave, like Kia Proctor did, the truth is, despite the public humiliation and backlash, it's hard to imagine her walking away anytime soon. She's not just suddenly discovering who Cam really is. She chose to have a child with him and now has another on the way, making Cam a father of 9. She might stay to prove a point or pretend everything's fine, but this is likely just the first of many public outbursts to come. The honeymoon phase seems over, and now she's facing the real Cam. The painful truth is she knew the red flags, preached against them, yet still walked into the fire. Her breakdown wasn't just about Cam. It was about realizing she'd become the very woman she once mocked. And the kicker? Cam hasn't changed one bit.
You're not taking yourself to get your nails done. You're not doing none of that, but he's supposed to come over here and do all of that shit that you're not even doing that for yourself. It's giving very much save me. It's giving very much damsel in distress.